Welcome back, team. Fine, team. Okay, let's go further. Especially, I believe the next important thing. These are all I already told you, right, team. So first, 3-4 class sessions usually will be some theoretical sessions, which we need to understand a bit on this particular cloud computing, the cloud models, and the deployments, and followed by the completely the practical part. I will tell you when exactly you need to provision your portal account, team. That is the thing. I will inform you. Don't worry on that. Until then, do not provision any Azure portal account until then. All right, team. Okay, so let's move to the next concept, which is the types of services. We just need to understand few things, especially in the cloud world. We'll always hear about a few things, very common. Those are IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. These are the terminologies are very, very common in the cloud world, team. We should understand a bit about these cases before proceeding further. Okay, and also I just want to highlight particularly a case here. So for example, how exactly the virtualization concepts works. How exactly the virtualization concepts work. Later classes we will see how exactly the containerization also works. But for now we will see how virtualization works. Alright, team. You all know very well that what exactly the laptop, a machine which you are using on daily basis in your offices or your personal thing, that's called a machine, which is a laptop with you, right? Usually we'll call that one as a laptop, and in our terminology we'll call that one as a virtual machine. You just need to understand a simple analogy so that you can get things really well. Especially, when you go for the cloud environments, team, usually our deployments today, the market being changed completely to the containerization. That is where we started deploying our application to the containerization tools or containerization orchestration tools, such as Kubernetes is the mostly and widely used one. We moved to that by using Dockers. We completely moved to that. But before to that, the trend was at the virtual machine. So whatever the deployments we are trying to make, each and everything we will deploy into the virtual machine only, team. That is where we were earlier. We noticed a lot of problems, especially with this traditional deployment, or those are deploying to the virtual machines. That's where we moved towards the containerization world. That's where the Docker and the Kubernetes got an importance in the market, team. And we will also see the suitable projects when that particular concept comes. But for now, we will understand what exactly the virtualization and how exactly these particular things are really helping us in understanding the types of services. That one we will see, team. All right. Okay, team. So usually, whenever you go to the portal, we will try to provision a virtual machine. Okay. Anyway, I'm in front of the machine. So let me open the portal account. So that you will feel some practical part of viewing maybe for today. You can understand something. See, usually this is our Azure portal account. Okay, this is our Azure portal account. In this Azure portal account, this particular portal account is offering hundreds of services. But you no need to understand all hundreds of services. But what you should understand as a DevOps engineer, a few services very confidently, and also you should be very strong. We should have a very strong knowledge in those services, team. Keep the point in our mind. Especially the first one, usually we will start with the virtual machine. Followed by the databases, app services, Kubernetes AKS. Especially in Azure AKS, in AWS we'll call it EKS. That is where exactly we start with, and we will end our projects also at the Kubernetes one. And also, Shashank, can you please be on mute, Shashank? And also in between we will see few deployments, especially to the function app, logic app, and app services as well. Those are also important. Few of the companies are still using those kind of deployments. If they don't have the skill set for the Kubernetes, obviously they will use these kind of skills. All right, team. For example, when you come to the portal, here it's a global search where you are seeing a global search, right? You can go there and you can launch a virtual machine. So when you type a virtual machine, it will show you a virtual machine which you are seeing on the screen, right? You are seeing on the screen. I have 3 virtual machines which are there in my portal, and these 3 virtual machines which are there under startup mode. That's fine. Now what exactly I'm trying to show for you, you just go to the create and just click on the Azure virtual machine. We are just trying to create a virtual machine. I just want to show you how exactly that particular thing works here. Especially you need to understand few things when we go and provision a virtual machine team. Here, whenever you are starting or you're provisioning a component in the Azure cloud, means you should have one subscription and followed by a resource group. Those are compulsory. Whenever you open a free account from the portal team, when you open a free account from the portal, you will be allocated with one subscription. For example, let me duplicate the screen and I will give a quick walkthrough on the subscription also team. Okay. When you come here, there you can see, just go for the global search again, or just wait for a few seconds team. Alright. So here just go there and just type subscriptions. The moment when you type the subscription, it will be navigated to your current subscription, whatever the subscription you are currently in progress with. You can see that. This is my subscription. You will be allocated with a subscription team. You will be allocated with a subscription. So whenever you create an account, especially that subscription has a subscription ID, and corresponding to the cost also you can see how much is the charge exactly coming to you. For instance, go there and click on Azure subscription one team. Whatever the subscription being allocated to you, you also go there and check it. Okay, once you open an account. If you already have an account, you can straight away go there and check it. Okay. There you can go for the cost analysis. If you go for the cost analysis team, here is the one exactly you can check how exactly the charges are being occurred on your particularly on your account on daily basis you can see. And you can see the forecast as well. By end of this month, you may reach to 56 if you go with the same pace of usage. Why I'll reach 56? There is a reason, because for other batch the projects are happening. So that is the reason usually the estimation is a bit high. Alright. So this is how exactly the subscription, though that particular subscription will be defined for you also. The moment when you open the portal, you can see this particular subscription team. Alright, this is clear. Let me go back. There, that is the one exactly you need to select first team. That's a subscription. Okay. Where exactly you are provisioning the component? Yes, I'm provisioning the component in the subscription. That is what you are just telling here. Okay, alright. There is one important thing which you are seeing as a resource group. See, that name itself is clearly telling you. The name itself is clearly telling resource group, meaning that it's a collection of resources. So, it will collect all your services, all your resources, whatever you are planning to provision in the portal. That is what the resource group team. So here, you can create resource group during your runtime also. This is what exactly I'm provisioning some other service, but I can create a resource group in this particular screen itself by clicking on create new. The moment when you click on the create new, you can see, yes, I'm saying something, AZ-RG-new. I'm just giving some name, resource group name. The advantage of the resource group here is team, just listen this one very carefully. It will collect all your components logically together. And also, at the end of the month, if you want to segregate your charges, or what are the charges being imposed on your subscription, you want to see those things at the another level of granularity, then the resource groups are really helpful for you team. Resource groups are really helpful for you. Let me give one quick example here. Okay. Let me give one example. Okay. In your company, let's take, in your company, what are the project you are working? You may have different types of environments, right? That's a very common thing, right? That's a very common thing usually we have. Let me take an example here. Usually you have a dev environment, right? Followed by dev, followed by, what is the next immediate environment team? Usually what we will call in real time. Anyone. What is the next immediate environment? SIT or UAT, whatever it is. Okay, whatever it is. SIT or UAT. And the next one is the pre-prod environment, right? So pre-prod environment. And the final one is the production environment. This is exactly the sequence, right? Usually this sequence usually people will follow. Now I'm asking one question to you. Okay. So especially when we have this kind of environments, dev, SIT, UAT or pre-prod or production, these kind of environments. At the end of the month, all these environments are falling under your subscription only. All are falling under your subscription. This is what your subscription, because everything got provisioned, everything will be there under your subscription. End of the month, my subscription bill is about 10,000 US dollar, 10k US dollar. Now I'm asking a question as a manager. I'm asking a question. This is completely a real-time case, team. Okay, this is completely a real-time case. Okay. For example, your manager is asking you, hey, DevOps engineer, can you please get me the charges on the environment basis? A simple thing. Can you please get me the charges on environment basis? What exactly you will do? What exactly you will do? You will go there to the subscription, whatever the subscription I just went there. You will go here. There is a download button. You will just go there. For example, the September month. Let's take our last month. Okay, let's go there. Just go for the last month. There you click on the download button. The moment when you download a button, there you are seeing an Excel CSV format. The charge came as $51. Let's download this particular download data. There the data will be downloaded. There you will form a pivot table so that you can just give them a report. What if your manager asks you to send this report daily to me automatically to my email ID and the Teams? What exactly you will do, team? See, you can come here, you can download, that is okay. And you need to form a pivot table maybe for the entire month or the past week, and you need to share the result. Now, manager is asking you, hey, engineer, every day you are spending some 15-20 minutes to do this activity. As a DevOps engineer, why don't you automate this task? Why don't you automate this particular task? What is the problem with you? Is there any possibility for the automation? Yes, of course. Of course. In Azure, whatever the activity you are doing, team, just remember the base rule. Whatever the activity you are doing, each and every activity will be provided with an API. Provided with an API, team. So now what you can do, you can get that API, you can call the API, you can get the results, you can form the pivot by using Python. By using Python, you can solve that case. That is what one of our real-time use case also in our syllabus, okay? By using Python, we can solve that one. On daily basis, when now the schedule runs automatically, you can send a message to the Teams or message to the Outlook, our email ID, whatever it is, by using Kubernetes ETL Python deployment. I'm going to connect the dots, team, not only a simple Python script. The Python you will use in ETL, the ETL will be deployed in the Kubernetes part will send this notification to your Teams or the Outlook. This is the sequence you will learn. This sequence is required. See, you can simply run your Python also in a virtual machine. If you do that, there is no difference between you and a Python developer. I don't see any difference. But if we can deploy that one into the Kubernetes, then I can see a difference because you are a DevOps engineer. You can deploy that one into the Kubernetes as a part, and you can make sure that runs on a scheduled basis, maybe once in 4 hours or once in 6 hours. That is how usually we need to think about the automation cases also in real time. All right. Let's come back to our part. Okay, so now we have 4 environments: Dev, SIT, UAT, pre-prod, and production environment. Now I'm asking you, you have the bill of 10k USD. I'm asking you, hey DevOps engineer, can you please segregate this 10k across these 4 environments? What you will do? First and foremost thing, you should have a proper identification. Whenever you are creating a resource group, that is what exactly I just touched a concept here called the resource group. Right, resource group. When you go for the resource group, team, so for example, this one particular resource group usually you'll call as a dev resource group. Okay, dev resource group. In the same way, in the same way, we will call this particular thing as some SIT resource group or something like that, some identification difference. And if you copy this one and just go to here, you can call this one as a pre-prod resource group. I'm just giving something PRP. And finally, you will go here and just copy and just go there. Just come here, just go the production resource group, PRD. Okay. Now, if your resource group names are very clear, you can simply get this value resource group filter. You go to the subscription. There is a filter. Just click on the filter and just go for the resource group. You just go for the resource group, team. Just come here. There you can just go for one resource group called AD-RG. Whatever the resource groups are there in your mission. For example, I'm not following that technique here. I'm just randomly creating the resource group. Maybe if you want to get to know only dev, you just type only dev and correspondingly dev things will be selected. So here, if you want to see that, you just select the 102-RC, and once you select that particular thing, click on this green tick, then it will be selected and the corresponding charge you can see. So point to be noted here. So what is exactly the point we need to understand? The point we need to understand here is by using resource group, definitely you can segregate the charges. But I'm not telling that resource group is the only technique to do that. I'm not telling the team. The best technique to achieve this task is by using tags. By using tags. By using tags, the tags are the identifiers which helps us to just differentiate the cost on the resources by end of the month. The best answer is the tags. This is a certification question also. Okay. The tags are the best useful things, especially in segregating the charge on the resource or resource group level or subscription level. The tags is the only solution. Remember that one. But few companies, if you don't follow the tags technique very clearly and properly, obviously you can segregate still on the resource groups also. You can utilize resource group in that way also. That is what exactly I'm just stressing here. Perfectly all right. So what exactly resource group consisting of? Resource group consisting of resources. What are those resources? Can be a virtual machine, can be a API management, can be an app service, can be a logic app, function app, security group, NAT, internet gateway, can be anything team. Each and everything will call as a resource only. That is what everything will be collected logically, and those things will be placed under this resource group. Just give me a second team. That is what exactly the things works here. All right. Next one. Okay, we understand. Okay, we selected the subscription. And followed by the resource group. Two things are very clear. Now I'm just going further. There it is asking, okay, go there and select a virtual machine. Yes, of course, we are going there and just selecting a virtual machine as VM1. Or you can select this one as a dev VM. That is your wish, okay? That and all your wish team. Okay, we selected dev-VM. Next question they are asking, where exactly you want to deploy this one? Which region? Where exactly you want to deploy? You want to deploy this one in Singapore, or you want to deploy this one in the Hong Kong or India or US? So this particular point you need to be very careful. Wherever your infrastructure or customer base is there only you need to provision the component. Remember the point, team. Okay. I'm just going there. I'm just selecting the Southeast Asia. All right. They are talking about availability options. I believe you understand a little bit about the high availability during our first class itself, on-prem and the cloud differences. The availability refers to how exactly you want to keep an availability for your virtual machine. If you open the drop down, you are seeing few options here. Availability zone, virtual machine scale set, availability set. Those are all the few techniques, especially in making sure the VM availability team. At this moment, you don't need to understand these things. You need to have some sort of knowledge to go for these particular availability options. You just wait for a while. I'm going, interestingly, security type is the one. By default, Azure will apply the basic security rules on your virtual machine. That is where this particular option is there with you. You can open that one. You simply select the standard one. That is more than enough for you. But what exactly the standard? Meaning that they will block each and every port on your virtual machine, and intentionally if you want to open any port, that and all your risk. That is what exactly the standard refers here. But just wait for a while. The intention in opening the virtual machine is different here. Okay. Why I opened this one? I just want to show you one interesting thing here under image section. If you open the images team, Azure is offering you different types of images. You can see Ubuntu, Windows Server 2019, Windows Server 2022, Ubuntu 20.04, Ubuntu 22.04, Red Hat, Oracle, Debian. Different types of images Azure is offering you. You know why they are offering this one? Okay. The reason why they are offering here, whatever the virtual machine type you want. For example, maybe you are using a laptop which is of the type Mac. Maybe the Mac OS type, right? That could be Intel or some other thing. Maybe you are using a Windows machine. Maybe you are using some Windows 11 or Windows 19 or whatever it is. That particular thing you are using. So in the same way, if you want to select something in the cloud environment, they are giving an option for you. That is exactly the thing I'm highlighting here. That is what the thing you can see Ubuntu or Windows Server 2019 or 2022. We can see definitely Ubuntu and the Windows examples. Don't worry on that. For now, I'm just selecting the Ubuntu Server 20.04. Now, what you need to understand here is team. And once you select this particular image, what exactly the things, when you click on the review and create, what exactly the things are actually happening? Let me show you that. Now you just come back to our discussion, our basic discussion wherever we started. If you come back here team, if you keenly notice this diagram, whatever the diagram you are seeing on the screen, if you notice this particular diagram, okay, in this particular diagram, whatever the virtual machine you are provisioning from the portal, that virtual machine is this one. That virtual machine is this one. Meaning that here is the Ubuntu exactly you are trying to provision. Exactly you are trying to provision. Or you want to trying to provision a Windows machine, that should be this one. Or CentOS, that should be this one. Or something like that. So what exactly the behind things are happening here? So they are applying the virtualization concept only, especially in provisioning the virtual machines. Now what exactly that one? So meaning that, so you have an underlying hardware. On top of that, you have the host OS. On top of that, hypervisor is there. Exactly will help you to just distribute the hardware across different machines. What are the machines you are purchasing over there? This particular hardware will be distributed. So especially if you notice this particular thing, hypervisor, what exactly the hypervisor job? So whatever the underlying hardware is there, that particular hardware being distributed to the system, whatever the machines you are trying to deploy on top of it. That is what hypervisor job here. These OS are guest OS. This OS is a host OS. You need to think about it. Guest OS means you can onboard a number of guest OS, especially on top of this particular infrastructure. But again, I'm telling you, this is invisible only for you. Okay, this is invisible only for you, and they will directly sell this area. Exactly, they divided that hardware into different parts, and they are calling those parts as with different series. If you go to here, if you go to the size, click on this size. If you open this particular, see all sizes. See, they are dividing that particular hardware DS1 V2. For example, if you go for the DS1 V2, you will get 1 CPU and 3.5 GB RAM and 4 data disk, and this is the IOPS you can get, and just temporary 7 GB, and the premium disk is supported. Premium disk means I think your read and write operations will be very fast. And also the cost you need to bear $57.60 per month. This is what exactly they divided the infrastructure, and they're selling you in terms of this particular series value. You don't need to buy ahead anything. No need. Because these are the virtual machines. Of course, in real time, you will not use virtual machines much. Okay. You don't need to buy ahead anything because this is already a containerized world. Okay. Don't worry too much on the virtual machines. All right. Now, once you go back, so that is what exactly you are selecting image as Ubuntu. Now if you come here, Ubuntu is the image being selected. By using Ubuntu image, a VM will be provisioned. That is the VM exactly our DevOps engineer will connect and interact with. That is how exactly this particular cloud offering, especially the virtual machine, is there. But I haven't provisioned anything. I just showed you how exactly that particular part behave. Okay. Just wait for one more session. There we will jump into the virtual machine, databases, networking, subnets and all. All right, team. Okay. Now let's come to the context. What exactly the context is? Types of services. When you go for the types of services, team, if you come here, especially you know very well that let me reduce the size a bit. 125 is fine. Okay, fine, team. So the specially so when you come for this particular service models where you are seeing on-premises, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So you are seeing different types of service offerings. These are very commonly you can see across all the cloud environments. I'm not stressing only Azure can, other clouds also can. Okay, all right. Now easily you will understand the concept now. Okay. Now if you just come here, team. Usually the infrastructure will be in this particular layer. So networking, storage, server, This is what the exactly the underlying one. On top of it, virtualization concept. On top of it, operating system, which is a guest operating system, just before I discussed. These are the exactly the things being represented very clearly here. Networking, storage, server, on top of virtualization concept, there the guest operating system. From there onwards, you need to deploy a middleware, whatever the things are really required for you. On top of it, runtime environment to make sure your applications are really working, and application and the databases. These are all the things usually we will deploy. This is on premises. When you go for the infrastructure as a service, if you come here, team, so what does that mean, infrastructure as a service? See, if you see this particular layer architecture here already, why they are calling this one as infrastructure as a service, that also you need to think about a bit. See, their goal is they want to provide infrastructure as one package, infrastructure as one service to you. That is where IaaS is being evaluated. If you just come here, networking, storage, server, virtualization, up to here they want to manage. On top of it, your selection, your selection, your selection, your selection, your selection, and you are the person need to manage these things as well. Remember that one. So meaning that, let's take a virtual machine as an example. Just before we try to provision a virtual machine, it is simply asking me only one question: what exactly the operating system you want to deploy? That is where exactly our journey started. See, from here it is asking the requirement, meaning that is the IaaS service. That is the infrastructure as a service. Best example is virtual machine. Okay. On top of it, you need to manage the remaining things. Don't think these things are very different things. Application means your application, whatever you are just connecting with Amazon.com, just connecting with the database. On top of it, runtime environment, the Java, the React, whatever those things are only. Just you can compare like that. Easily you can understand it. Okay. Let me go a bit here. This infrastructure as a service, who exactly the persons can really manage this one? See, who has some sort of infrastructure knowledge, they can definitely manage the IaaS services. Usually, in real-time world, IT admins are DevOps engineer. I'll commonly write the DevOps engineer because you should understand the importance of this case, team. Okay, that's why I'll keep the DevOps. IT admins and the DevOps are the most suitable candidates for this particular role, team. Okay. Next one is PaaS. PaaS is a platform as a service. When it comes to the platform as a service, team, you're seeing here networking, storage, server, virtualization, operating system, middleware, runtime, up to here. Azure vendor will manage. Azure will manage up to here. On top of it, simply you need to provision, you need to deploy an application, you need to deploy a database. That's all you need to do. Your task is very less here. That is why we don't really require any infrastructure knowledge and all. That's why even software developers also can do this activity. Developers also even can do this one in real time with you, team. Okay, but you should have a knowledge on this area. How exactly you need to make application deployments, database deployments, application connected to the database, how it exactly is connecting over the internet or over the intranet, those things and all you should understand. And the next one is SaaS model, which is a software as a service. Here, you no need to do anything. Everything is ready-made. Everything provided by the cloud vendor. Simply you need to use the service. Example, you can use specially in Azure, a SendGrid is the one of the application which you can make use to send an emails when there is an alert comes or something happens in the cloud environment. Or even you can see the lovely examples, the Gmail or the Dropbox are also the one of the examples, especially for the SaaS. So these are all the types of services which you can see from the Azure team. Okay, and also if it comes to the SaaS, the end users, obviously the usage, whoever the persons are using this one is obviously the business user or end user, because they no need to have any sort of knowledge. Simply they will make use of the application. If you want to use a Amazon.com, do you need any knowledge on the application or the infrastructure or the technology? No, right? Simply you'll go to the Amazon.com, you will go there, you'll browse and you select a product, you'll submit the order. That's it, right? Anyone can do that. That is exactly the thing. It's a ready-made product. Right. That's why usually we'll call that one as end users. So end users can easily make use of that particular service. Easily they can use in their real time. Okay. Let me keep one analogy with respect to this service model so that you will get a very good idea on this particular service model understanding. Okay. Let me go a bit down. Okay, all right, team. Similarly, I'm just comparing the same process, just baking a cake. It's the common examples usually people will think, and I'm also bringing the same to you so that your understanding will be at another level. All right, if you consider this one, team, see what exactly the things are exactly required to prepare a cake or to bake a cake. So obviously, you need to have the infrastructure point of view. Eggs, butter, sugar, flour, all these things are required. On top of it, you should have a runtime environment, especially cake pan, oven, electricity. Those are the runtime areas. On top of it, usually you should have a dining table with a water so that you can easily have that one. Just assume in the same way. Now, firstly, I'm just considering infrastructure as a service. So, meaning that, for example, so you will buy flour, sugar, butter, eggs from vendor. So you are getting all these things from vendor. In the same way, you are getting all these things from vendor. On top of it only, you are preparing these things. So you have this runtime environment. On top of it, you have the dining table and the water so that you can easily have it. We can call this particular process, you are buying the ingredients and baking the cake, right? That is what exactly you are doing. This particular area which are being highlighted here, those are the infrastructure, are the ingredients things which exactly you need to get from the vendor only, team. So that is the case I'm just comparing here. Let's go to platform as a service. I'll give it time, just wait for a while. So next one is the platform as a service. When it comes to the platform as a service, team, once you are here, usually, what exactly, everything should be there. Everything should be there, including your runtime environment. Simply on top of it, you have the application and data deployment simply. In the same way, everything will be available. On top of it, you should have the dining table and the water. So this particular case, usually, we can call as a cake delivery. For example, if you ordered a cake, everything will be prepared at the shop and they will deliver to you. Simply, you can have it. That is what exactly a platform as a service. Simply, you need to have only these two things, remaining all will be provided. The next one is the software as a service. You can easily sense this one. Everything should be provided by the vendor. Everything. So obviously that is the one usually will go out, will have something, right? That is what the dining out. A simple example which you can keep in your mind easily and you can remember this concept easily. All right. That is all about the service deployment models, service models. I'm just giving a heads up on these things, and when we are deep diving into the concepts, there you will understand especially what exactly these services, how we can use in real time also. Okay, what exactly the regions, what exactly the zones when it comes to the Azure cloud? How exactly you need to think about when you are deploying an application or when you are deploying a virtual machine or app services or the Kubernetes clusters. You don't worry about these particular services, slowly you will understand. But you need to, what exactly you need to think about? That is the sort of knowledge we'll try to understand a bit here, team. Okay. All right. Why I'm telling a bit of knowledge, because you cannot get completely in the third class itself, team. Okay. It will take time to understand maintaining high availability, maintaining disaster recovery, maintaining the scaling. That is where exactly in the first class I gave the heads up on those three concepts. Okay. Those three things definitely will hunt you until the last class in your real time also. Every day they will hunt you along with the logging and monitoring. Okay, that is also very important. All right, team. Okay, when it comes to this particular region and zones, you understand a bit about the multi-cloud environment during our yesterday's part. Especially the multi-cloud is the one where you are deploying your application not only in one cloud environment, even there is a possibility to go for another cloud, right? That is where exactly we discussed yesterday, right? There are reasons behind why they are going multi-cloud. There could be one reason is maybe services or data centers are not available, or the second reason could be they are not completely trusting you. That is why they are just having a backup plan with some other cloud provider. Possibility reasons. Okay, all right. In the same way, especially, so meaning that I told you yesterday, maybe Azure has a data centers in Singapore, maybe AWS I don't have, or something like that, right? Just a continuation for that thing. Okay, so they across geography, Azure divided this geography into 60 plus regions, where these regions has the again being turned into the zones. Regions are again turned into the zones, where again zones are turned into the data centers. Now you need to understand a bit here, team. A bit here. What exactly this one? For example, just before you try to provision a virtual machine, right? You know, that particular virtual machine will be deployed into one of the data center, right? One of the data center into one of the rack. That is what the place for the virtual machine team. Let's go to the virtual machine, whatever the VM you have. Let's take a VM here, okay? Let's take a VM. So this is the VM. For example, let's assume we provisioned a virtual machine here. Let's assume we provisioned a virtual machine. What exactly the things are happening? If you go there here, you are selecting a specific region, right? Singapore or Hong Kong, whatever it is. And also, whatever the region you are selecting, based on that particular virtual machine will be deployed in the Singapore region. Let's consider this one as a SG region, okay? SG region, where exactly our virtual machine is being deployed inside this particular region. Point to be noted. I haven't discussed anything on the zone, which zone exactly it should go. I haven't discussed anything on the which data center it should go. Or don't worry about the data center. Data center is the one which exactly consisting of entire hardware infrastructure with networks, switches, coolers, wires, each and every hardware equipment. That is what the data center exactly. And also, they will not reveal the data center address to the public. Keep that point also in your mind, team. Okay, you will not understand where exactly the data centers are. Okay, so that is the security issue. That's why usually no cloud vendor will reveal that. Okay, that's okay, all right. But the point you need to understand here, one thing, okay. For example, team, I have a virtual machine and I have a database. Okay, let's consider these two scenarios, maybe virtual machine and a database. Let's start with the virtual machine, team. When you start to provision a virtual machine, it is simply asking which region you want to deploy. Okay. If you go there is an option called availability, right? When you click on the availability, team, here you are seeing availability zone, virtual machine scale set, availability set. These are all the things I mentioned you. I will discuss these things a bit later. That is completely true. But I just want to discuss a basic point of that here. Okay, whenever you provision a virtual machine, team, that particular virtual machine, during the process, they will never ask you which zone or which data center you want to deploy. They will not ask that. Obviously, they will not ask that. As long as your virtual machine belongs to the same region, whatever the region you are intent to, that is more than enough. If I want to deploy infrastructure in Singapore, Singapore is fine. Where exactly you want to deploy zone 1 or zone 2 or zone 3, which one will call it zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, they will never reveal that one. And you don't know even where exactly your VM is already sitting, which data center also. Okay. All of a sudden, whatever the data center, in the data center, you can see the server, network, switches, racks, etc. There, in this particular data center, the VM being deployed. All of a sudden, there a coolers issue raised at the data center. Just assume coolers issue. The coolers are not working. That's one of the issue. 2 months before we just had a record, especially on this case. Okay, in one of the data centers, coolers stopped working. The moment coolers stopped working, you know what happened, team? whatever the infrastructure is there, especially under that particular zonal area, especially zone 1. Let's consider zone 1. Okay. Especially if your infrastructure is falls under this particular data center, your components will not work. Your components will not work. Then what you will inform to customer? What you will inform to the client and user? You will say this is Azure issue. Obviously you will say it's Azure issue because you completely depend upon the vendor. That is not your problem. That is a vendor problem. Okay. But definitely sometimes there is a chance for the business loss also, these kind of scenarios. Usually when you really demand them, see, we got this much business loss because of your mistake, usually they will credit something from your bill team. Keep this point also in your mind. This one will be useful for you. Okay. If you really demand Azure saying that, hey, because of your failure, we lost our business. Usually daily our business would be around something, but we lost because this much amount. What they will do, whatever the monthly bill you are getting, they will give some credits to you. Credits in the sense, you got the 40K bill. They'll give some credits maybe to just suppress some 20K or 10K. This kind of deal usually they will do. Otherwise, you will not be happy. If you are not happy, you will go to Google Cloud or AWS. Obviously, right? Immediately you will think about it. He just want to retain you, especially in the Azure cloud team. That is what usually they will think about. So keep this point also in your mind. It will be definitely useful for you in real time. Okay, keep the point in your mind. All right, team. Now the point is, a VM being deployed in one of the data center because of the Colas issue. I think the VM is not working. My application is there inside. What I need to answer to the client? This is because of your failure. This is because of your failure. What is your failure? You have another failure here. Okay, what is that one here is? You haven't planned high availability for this particular application or virtual machine. If you would have planned high availability, you will not see this issue today. If you have planned high availability really well, the best case here is you will plan the high availability, keeping the another virtual machine, especially in the another zone. If you maintain zone redundancy for your virtual machine, all of a sudden this zone doesn't work. Still, you can serve the public by connecting this virtual machine. It's automatic. You don't need to worry about anything, any connection things. You don't need to worry at all, team. That is how exactly Azure is helping us. Not only Azure, any cloud vendor is helping us to maintain the high availability for your application team. This is a very, very important case for you. Whenever you are provisioning a component in real time in the Azure cloud, you need to think about whether you are following 3 rules. Keep 3 rules in your mind. Rule number 1, okay, whether you are following high availability or not, whether you are following the DR or not, whether you are following the scaling or not. Keep these 3 rules in your mind. You forget about the security because Azure cloud will manage that. Until and unless if you do something wrong, again that will be definitely will be caught out during your VAPT testing. VAPT testing. There are security testing during this process. Definitely those issues will be come out. Don't worry on that. So, point you need to understand. Whenever you want to deploy the infrastructure, try to make sure you have the proper high availability. At least deploy that application in 2 zones. So that you can maintain the high availability for the application and you will be safe always. You don't need to deploy in another zone. That is region high availability. That is the best case. If your client is really interested to spend something, you can do that. But the zone redundancy is the basic thing which you need to keep in your mind whenever you're provisioning the services in the cloud environment. Right. Okay. Same case applicable for databases also. Same case applicable to. Even if you want to maintain a very good high availability for the database, you also need to think about the same thing, team. No change at all. No change at all. Right? You need to deploy this particular database with a high availability so that your database replica will be maintained in another zone. So in case of some issue, zonal issue, that database standby replica will be helpful for you. I will discuss database detail in our tomorrow's class. Don't miss the tomorrow's one. Okay? We'll discuss database in detail, especially the DBHA, DBDR, how exactly we can connect to the databases, those things and all we will discuss in detail. Okay? That is what exactly I just want to convey to you. These are all the geography, regions, and zone and data centers. You don't need to remember any of these things. So just understand the concept, where to deploy, how to manage in our real time. That's all thing. All right, team. Thank you for the session. See you in the next part.